feared idol. Ron Kordish, please. A hand for Ron. Thank you.
Thank you. This isn't my line of business. This is a hobby that got out of hand. And lactose intolerant too, so this really doesn't make any sense at all. But I got addicted to these milk bottles. I started collecting them a long time ago, maybe 20 plus years ago, and I dug one out of the backyard, and it was a Mid-Valley Farm Dairy, who was owned by the Kordish brothers, who are good friends of mine, and that's a very popular logo right there. The healthiest story ever told. A little boy and a little girl kissing. The healthiest story ever told. I'm going to read you a little thing from Covell's milk bottle. It's like a history of milk bottles to start with. The first milk bottle we ever heard about was an earthenware jar pictured on a Babylonian temple stone panel. Evidently, milk was being dipped from the jar while cream was being churned into butter. Milk came straight from the cow on the early farms, but when it started to grow in America, a new delivery system was needed. The farmer put milk into large containers. They were taken to the city in horse-drawn carts and delivered to the consumer. The milkman took a slightly dirty dipper and put it into the milk, ladling a quantity into the customer's pitcher. Flies, dirt, horsehairs, and heat obviously changed the quality of the milk, and by the 1860s, ice boxes were developed. One type of milk can claimed to keep milk from going sour in a thunderstorm. In 1895, pasteurization was invented, and another source of disease from milk was stopped. The first milk bottle patent was issued in the 1880s to the Warren Glassworks Company. The most famous milk bottle was designed in 1884 by a Dr. Harvey D. Thatcher, a physician and druggist from Potsdam, New York. His glass bottle had a lightning closure and a picture on the side of a cow being milked. The Thatcher Company brought out the bottle with the cap that is still being used today. Most of these bottles are Thatcher's. Their signature has a little MTC on the bottom, and it's very recognizable. Not these, the Dacros, Burschels are made by Duraglass. The characteristic shape and printed or embossed wording identify milk bottles for the collector. They're all dairy names, Burschel, Isgers, and so forth. And by the way, feel free to look around, touch them, hold them, look at them. That's what they're for. Some of them are very expensive, just don't drop them. Let's see. The round bottle was most popular until 1936, when the squat round bottle was invented. In 1940, a square squat bottle became the preferred type. Square, being four-sided, but it's square. And paper carton was also introduced in 1932. Plastic has been used since 1964, although on the East Coast, we didn't get around to plastic till after the 70s. I have Kordish Mid-Valley Farm Dairy bottles from 1970, 71, so we were still using Pyros in 70 or 71. Let's see, I should tell you about a slug plate. There's a certain kind of round bottle that the manufacturer would change the plate, change the printing on the bottle to change the dairy names. So all they had to do was change a slug to make it a different bottle with different dairy names. So that consequently they call that a slug plate, an embossed slug plate. And they're very common. It was easier for the manufacturers to make them. Cop to top, baby face, toothache, and cream tops are some of the terms referred to the shapes of the neck. Over here we have a cream top. There's a few cream tops. This one's from Bartholomew in Vandling. And this cream top has a spoon with it for the cream, to ladle out the cream. Pretty neat. I had to have it. Over here is a really nice cream top from a Tyson German. Very rare.
Ron, I want to interrupt you for a second. We got our pizza now, and we're going to take a break so everybody can have pizza and go to the little boys' room. So anytime it suits you, we'll take a little break. But I did hear you say something, that you have a bottle on eBay that's $100, is that right?
At 8:30, the bidding will end, and right now the bidding is at $100. The bottle is at Buck Hill Falls Company, Canadensis. And I got it at the Island Flea Market for a song.
Want to tell us what song you sang?
Milkman, keep those milk bottles quiet.
Oh,
That was a song by Lynn Dorsey or something.
yeah, I remember that.
I have the sheet music back at the shop.
So anytime you say it's okay, we'll break for...
But one more minute, Joe. Let me finish this
Yeah, of
section.
course.
Okay, how's that? Few children today have experienced the cream floating to the top
They
because...
don't know what you're talking about, you say that.
Right, they have no idea. A lot of people remember the milk bottles, the milk freezing, and the cap popping off. A lot of people remember that, but not the cream actually floating to the top of the bottle. And why is that? Well, that's because in 19, what was it? Whatever. Late in the 1900s, homogenization became popular. Once that happened, there was no more cream coming to the top. There are two places, there are monthly newsletters. One is called the Milk Route, which I don't belong to, or the Moose Letter. If you need more information on that, I have it here, and you could call those people and they'll send you out a monthly newsletter on milk bottles for a fee. We're ready to break, Joe.
Thank you. Took care of the important things, the pizza, the soda, and the bladder break.
That's the last night.
All right, we get comfortable.
That's writing.
You're small.
Let's get comfortable for Ron's program. Thank you all for your patience and understanding, and thank you, Ron.
All righty. Thank you, Joe, for having me show off part of my Lackawanna County display. There's a lot of rare stuff here, is all I could say. I'm going to go on by teaching you some at least relaying some jargon, milk bottle jargon for the collectors. They were either round or square. And they came in all different sizes. And also they were painted, or pyro, from the Greek to fire, or embossed. And here's a slug plate. Harry Baldwin, Carbondale, PA. The Thatcher, and I can't tell the date, but a lot of them have the dates on the bottom. Came in all different sizes, from the small ones, the restaurant creamer. This one's from Woodlawn. To a quarter of a pint, which is also called a gill. And I guess back in the day, that was terminology that was used every day in baking and cooking and all of that. So that's called a gill. Then there were half pints, which a lot of people remember getting them at school. Like when I went to school, I think maybe the first 2 years I got these from Mid-Valley. But after that, they didn't give us any milk. They just gave us a beat. Anyway, there are also 1/3 quarts. Somebody mentioned Dairy Lee before. I have a Dairy Lee 1/3 quart, which is pretty interesting. It's an odd size. 10 ounce is another size. A pint. Did I bring a pint? Sure, here's some pints. Here's a pint bottle from Mancha Farm Dairy. Very rare. Jessup, PA. It's also a store bottle, 5-cent deposit. It's also called ribbed. And this is, I don't know, 1935. Here's one from Enderley. And here's a tag that was common to a lot of different dairies. This one's from out of the area, Pioneer Dairy, Grove City. But whenever you wanted another product, you leave this in your milk bottle on the porch, and the milkman would come take this and see what you wanted the next day and bring it back. They gave you porch boxes. You left the zig box on your porch. The milkman would come by and just give you what you wanted. There was also quarts, which most of these are quarts. I like quarts. Here's a round pyro quart from Russell's in Carbondale. Very rare. Here's a display from Burschel, a quart, round pyro quart. Other rare. Actually, all the pyros from Lackawanna are hard to find. Then there was half gallons, cans, and then you went right to the cow. That was it. That was the biggest size right there, the cow size.
If you're kidding in the house.
So the milk, the pail.
Dairies had, well, that was the pail, then the can.
Yeah, then the can.
The cow was bigger than the pail.
Yeah.
Anyway. A lot of dairies had a lot of different kinds of bottles. For instance, Burschel. They had painted bottles, and I think they put one out every year for, or actually, they put 2 or 3 out every year for 10, 15 years. There must be 60, I didn't do the math obviously, but there must be 60 or 70 different painted Burschel bottles. Just Burschel. Woodline had about 15, plus the embossed and all different sizes. They must have spent a fortune on glass milk bottles. And consequently, they had a lot of sayings. Let's see, they came to visit, not to stay. Return our bottles every day. That was one of my favorites. There's a couple of choice ditties out here somewhere. One of my favorite dairies was Hilltop in Peckville, but my favorite dairy was Mid-Valley because they're buds and they're from Jessup. The plant was in Lake Ariel. Jessup had Mancha Farm Dairy. They had Jessup Dairy, which was owned originally by a Wasilchak, who died in 1929, and then was taken over by a Coaches, Tony Coaches, and that was right by St. Mike's School in Jessup, which is now LaSalle Academy, and they're very collectible bottles also. Lackawanna County had at least 120 different bottles, different dairies, but I have maybe 80 or 85 of them in my collection, and there are some that are just very hard to find. If I don't have it at this point, it's rare. So I found 2 new ones this year, Novitsky from R.D. Oliphant, which is not even listed on any of the books that I've acquired. And here it is. Novitsky, Andrew Novitsky, R.D. Oliphant, 1925. And another one my friend came up with is from R.D. Oliphant, a Trinovich. He just came up with that this year. So we're always finding new stuff and new bottles.
Trinovich owns all the
Buses, the school buses.
The school bus, there you go, that's it.
I don't know.
There you go. Montel Dairy still in business.
Do you have a Montiel Dairy one there?
I didn't bring one, I'm surprised. I have 3, I must have 10 of them at the shop, but I thought I had one, but I couldn't bring them all. I thought I had one, I don't have one here. It's funny how the dairies turned into golf courses.
The farm.
I mean, they really did. I can see being Duff, you know, I go out and golf or pretend to golf every year, and, you know, people start talking to me, and I'll see a milk bottle. Russell's Farm Dairy in Carbondale. Robert Powell is going to be doing a presentation here in a few months. I did my first presentation for the Carbondale Historical Society on Carbondale milk bottles, and that's how I realized that him and his brother own Homestead Golf Course, which is Russell's Dairy.
Is that?
And a block down the road from him was Peter Gallick, Hillside Dairy in Carbondale. And up the road from him and up at Finchhill Corners, there was Booth Dairy.
Booth Farm, yeah.
Right, and now we're getting out of the county, but if you take a right and go to Dundas, And to Panorama, that was Meadow Breeze, which was owned by Paul Bowder, and that was another dairy. Sleepy Hollow was White's Dairy, which we don't even have listed because we don't have a bottle from the dairy. Somebody in German has one. Where's Tom's? Tom O'Neill.
Bruce Smollicombe, he's got it.
Right here.
Do you have that bottle? A white?
What, no?
White dairy?
Hey, Bruce Small,
Bruce
yeah,
Small.
Does, the mayor.
collects them too.
Yeah, where is Bruce? Why isn't Bruce here
That's a
tonight?
good question.
Hit him in the head. Next time I see him, I'll hit him in the head.
Oh, you tell him that Ron Kordish did a presentation and he personally asked for him and he wasn't here.
Certainly will. Well, I'll tell him. You tell him too, Tom. I'll tell him, yeah. We'll harass him good, yeah.
Yeah, because, you know, this isn't right.
He knows you want that bottle.
I want more than that bottle. He has another one I want. A little druggist bottle from Graves in German. A little, because my daughter is just becoming a pharmacist. In the next 2 months, she'll be a full-fledged doctor of pharmacy.
Wow.
So I have a little collection of druggist pharmacist bottles from 1880s that I'm going to give to her someday, you know, when she figures she might be interested.
Where do you find these now, like in
I-
basements? I
I
mean, not
do-
in the woods, right? Because
I
they're all
do a lot
shot.
of eBay.
All right.
I go to flea markets, I go to auctions, I stop at yard sales, I'm obsessed. If I see a milk bottle, I'll jam on my brakes, so don't tailgate me. Especially in the summer, because I'll jam on the brakes.
Well, they have those stickers that break for
I get in trouble like that.
Rob, you know about your customers. Every customer that walks in your shop to buy a stained glass window, he always ends with, "Got any milk bottles?" And at least 50% of them come back with a milk bottle.
And then I like to take them upstairs to show them my collection, and all I hear for 5 minutes is, "Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God." And I get tired of hearing it, you know, but that's the reaction. I have a lot of milk bottles, and they're all displayed in alphabetical order like I'm a nut. Anyway, it was very hard work putting milk in bottles. A lot of these guys just couldn't do it anymore, you know, like their families didn't want to do it, there was hardly any money in it. They worked 7 days a week, somebody had to milk the cows. Where do you put the milk? What do you do with it? Back in the day, I was told, well, think about it, back then in the 20s, 30s, and 40s, either you had a farm, you worked in the mines, or on the railroad.
Yeah.
There was hardly any, or if you were lucky, you might have had a factory job, sewing or something like that. But there wasn't much else to do.
Unless you're a politician.
Yeah, so we don't want to go there. In an election year, no less. Not with me, anyway. What else did I tell you? Some common stories. Here's one about Sam Mattice. He's not here. Sam and Nick came to my last lecture. And Sam and Nick both promised me a Mattice cream top, but I got one elsewhere. I looked into it. I got a honey hole up at prompting. Anyway, Sam and Nick, their great-grandfather, started Mattice Brothers Dairy in Chapman Lake.
In Chapman Lake.
Chapman Lake.
Wow.
And then they moved to German and built a brand new building in 54 or 5, I think they told me, which is now Kennedy Beverage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this was a Chapman Lake bottle. This one. Now, it doesn't say it, but that was the earliest cream tops that they had. Anyway, the story goes, I had a horse-drawn carriage. Sam would go from house to house. He'd load up his case or carrier, whatever he had, for the 1 stop or 2 stops, and he would go to the porch. Well, when he went to the porch, his horse would go to the next stop. And I said, and jokingly, I said at the last presentation, I said, I didn't get the horse's name. And Sam said, the horse's name was Ben. So Sam Mattice had a horse named Ben that delivered all his milk and stopped at every stop. And this is a common story for dairies. It happened down in Hershey too, but some youper told me the story, so I don't know if you could go by that or not. Please send me home, I have more trips to make. Here's one from Hilltop. It was found on other bottles. Hilltop was in Peckville. Don't be a quart short. Get more milk for the weekend. From the farm to you, fresher, wholesome milk. Milk is your best food buy. Thank you for returning your bottles promptly. The healthiest story ever told. Escanaba Eskies had this logo in red. It's the only one I ever found, aside from Mid-Valley Farm Dairy. They have that bottle in red. It was the same youper that told me that story, I think. Her rosy cheeks, his clear white skin shows glowing health maintained within. Drink rich pure milk 3 times a day. You'll soon be feeling that same way. Hilltop Dairy, Peckville. I can't take credit for that. Eggs, butter, buttermilk, chocolate. A milk in this bottle will bring them to your door. The more milk, the more health and happiness. Milk builds great champions. Milk from our own herds. Attend church for health of mind. Drink milk for health of body. As good as any, better than some. Country fresh, farm to you. Drink 3 glasses of milk every day. Playtime, mealtime, bedtime, or any time. And these are all logos that were found on the backs of some of the bottles. That's all I got written down. So if you guys have questions,
I have a question.
shoot.
At what point did they start these small dairies? Because I told you I grew up on a farm and my father used to send it to Dairy and then I think it was Woodland. At what time point in history did they start, these small dairies start going out of business and ship it to Dairy?
I'd say it happened all along, but I'd say the war had a lot to do with it. A lot of farmers didn't have the help. Their sons went off to war, or the farmers themselves. Some of them dropped out in the homogenization period, when homogenization came into being because they couldn't afford the technologies. For instance, I'm sure I know of a few stories. Copinas Dairy in Scott, which is near Montdale, was bordering Montdale Farm Dairy. And George Copinas couldn't afford the equipment, so he used to have Mike Popovich do his bottling. Another instance of that happening was Decker's in Factoryville. Decker's Farm Dairy in Factoryville, I don't know, they got rid of by the state, whatever, so they had to have their milk bottled by Rosiak in Fleetville. Milk caps are also very collectible. Some of my favorite ones are the striped ones.
I'm surprised that you have so many milk caps and so many of those bottles.
You know,
It would be harder to keep the bottles, wouldn't it?
I've been very fortunate
Yes.
to have acquired a ton of milk caps. I met the right people, and they like me. Because I don't know, I just, I want, I guess, because I want, and I get what I want, usually. If I'm on eBay, don't bid against me. Because, well, you could bid against me, but if I want it, God knows what I'll spend. $50, $60.
You have a wife?
Yes, I do, but she doesn't allow any milk bottles in the house. And she doesn't come into and I don't allow her in my shop. And I love her dearly, but that's the way it is. She sells cars, by the way, for Sylvester Chevrolet. Anybody need a new Chevy? The redhead's my wife.
That's her red is your wife?
Red's my wife, so
Wow.
Did I
support
just
the
buy a
local
car from
team.
her a few months ago?
Yes, you probably did.
Yeah.
Wow.
Thank you for your
October.
patronage and support. We appreciate it.
Gorgeous.
Yeah, she's beautiful, yeah.
Thank you. You're wondering what she's doing with a guy like me.
Oh,
It's my milk bottle. there's a few.
Trying to mention the Goldwitz?
Oh, well, there are all sorts of go-withs. For instance, calendars, these creamers. Here's something Joe Wentline, by the way, gave me a photocopy of an ad. I don't know the year, but 1906 it says on the Luna Park ad. Enderley Dairy, dealer in milk and ice cream, corner of Monsey and Larch, Scranton, PA. Our special brand was Lucky Well Farm. W.L. Matthews, proprietor. What other go-withs, Joe?
They used to give out rulers, things like that.
Rulers.
The height charts for the kids.
Right.
Yeah.
The height chart, the growth chart for the kids. Here's a baby bottle from Glendale. Somebody asked before, Glendale was bought out by Woodlawn. Woodlawn also bought out, what was, Fairland or
Fairlawn?
Foremost? No, Foremost was buying at the time, that's a big one. Somebody mentioned it
Woodlawn
before.
bought out Burschel's, and then Woodlawn was bought out by Dairy Lee. And Dairy Lee closed the plant.
No, Gracie Farms was,
Gracie Farms just closed. I know it was Dairy Lee. I know that. I was a member of Dairy Lee for years.
Okay. All right, there you go.
Kelly's is still around, I think, isn't
You
it?
go,
Kelly's.
when you go
It's
into
funny.
all these milk plants and where they were, when you went along a main highway or a railroad, wherever there was a railroad, like the Lehigh Valley went from Tunkhannock to Montrose. There was a milk station in Tunkhannock. There was 3 milk stations in Tunkhannock. There was a milk station in Lemon. There was a milk station at Avery Station. There was a milk station in Lynn. There was one in Springville, one in Dimmock, one in South Montrose, and one in Montrose. The farmers would take the milk there in cans. It was put on a railroad car and taken to New York.
We're into Wyoming County now, and Susquehanna.
Susquehanna and Wyoming County, yeah.
Right. On eBay last week, there was a picture, postcard picture from 1904, Moody's Milk Station, Montrose. And the opening bid was $30 for it. It's just a picture, little postcard, Moody's. And I've never heard of that one. I have quite a few.
Railroad tracks, either one.
No, and it was a residence and milk station. Now, you mentioned South Montrose, that was Loudon Hill. Loudon
That
Hill.
was way later,
Well, yeah,
though. That was in the 50s.
right, Loudon Hill was,
Loudon Hill actually bought out
The red
the
hand on the
Valentine
bottom.
farms.
okay.
The Valentine Brewery owned a big farm in South Montrose. And Loudon Hill bought it, was Charlie Blazier bought that, and he took his business name was Loudon Hill.
Did you write any of this down?
You know, I've lived there for
Do you,
over 60 years.
can we get together afterwards? I'd like to
wow,
write some of this
Write a
down,
book.
because this is precious information.
That's how he's a nice guy.
Come up and
Thanks,
see the
Joe.
collection and see the Wyoming, because really, Lackawanna County, I live here and I have the most of, but I think my prize pieces are from Susquehanna and Wyoming counties. Like Shadow Brooks, Loudon, I have
Do you have a Zick farm?
a Zik. I brought a Zik with me, I think. I keep saying I brought it, but I have a Zik in Factoryville.
Adam
I don't have the Kingsley one. Here's a rare bottle. Mid-Valley Dairy, C.F. Moore Peckville. This is the precursor to Mid-Valley Dairy Jessup. C.F. Moore, G.F. Moore rather.
How about the Elephant Dairy?
Here's the
Dixon
zips.
City.
Yes, I have a Dixon City I didn't bring with me. But Elephant Dairy, I brought a few. I brought one Emo Polishat. Right here, Elephant Dairy, Elephant, PA. This one's from 1925. Some of them had his signature across the back. Now, I have more information, not with me, about the Olive Dairy. There were 5 siblings that ran it. And I have the years of operation, and Chucky Cook-Cadrilli up there in someplace up there in South Canaan has some bottles for me that Emil or someone gave him to give to me. Here's that Zix with the original cap. I have lots of Zix caps.
Yeah, I remember, because they delivered into North Scranton, because that's where he was from. He's from
Another
North
thing that's crazy is that Scranton is the thriving metropolis of Lackawanna County, had deliveries from Zix, Atherholt, Shadowbrook, Dodge Dairy, from all, and they had 30 or 40 dairies in Scranton, and I can't figure out why these people would travel to Scranton. Of course, I can see why the milk people would, just to sell their product, but why would the people in Scranton buy from them and not Burchell or Woodlawn or Gracie? You know?
Well, Adam said what he delivered was where that family settled in Scranton, in the North Scranton area, is where he delivered his milk.
Nationality. That could be good. That's a good.
I delivered for John Lingle.
Lingle, that's one of the
Up in
rarest
Tunnel
dairies. Yeah, Tunnel Hill.
Do you have any bottles?
Before I went to school.
I have one
Any
Lingle
bottles?
bottle.
No,
Oh,
Where are you from? From that way, Lingle?
Troop. I was from Troop. I was born and raised in Troop.
Why didn't Troop have any dairies?
I don't know.
Every town did. I thought every town did.
No, it's weird.
We had bigger carriers than that. We had 8 slots and then 2 at an angle.
And your routes were uphill both ways.
No, in Peninsula, down to Skunk Hollow. I had 22 quarts and another fella had 22 quarts, and then we'd go down to Skunk Hollow
God,
and meet the milkman up on George
At
Street.
8 pounds a gallon, that's 44 pounds plus the carrier you were hauling.
that was Ben the horse. My husband used to work on the Coca-Cola,
Yeah?
from delivering the milk.
How about that? How about that?
I don't have any bottles though.
I don't need them. I don't need any Mid-Valleys. The only Mid-Valley I'd like to have another one is their 1934. The year they
Maybe
started
Jimmy would.
business, or started with milk bottles, they put out in 1934, and the one I have has a big crack in the collar right here.
Oh.
But this is called, I'll mention a few other things. A lot of these bottles have tops around, or have indentations around the neck.
Yeah.
They're called gripper tops, or we call them gripper tops. And Bushko's had a chain going around. I didn't bring a Bushko. Here's a hobnail. Here's a drum.
They had good ice cream too, Bush schools.
Yeah, and they had all sorts of different smaller slots. They had swirl. Montville Dairy had swirls going around. That was another thing. Here's a rare thing. This is Jessup Dairy, TK. This is in the 30s, but there's an original pencil here from the 30s that says, not even sharpened, Jessup Dairy, 305 3rd Avenue, Jessup, PA.
Wow.
And that was given to me just because the guy said, look, I have 2 of these. You need these. Thank you, I said. And I put them right in the milk bottle so I didn't sharpen them.
They had one from Mayfield there. I didn't even know there was a dairy in Mayfield.
Oh, yeah, Mayfield.
LM Cure?
Cure, LM Cure, and there's
Like there were Cures was in Scott Township. I didn't know they had a dairy in Mayfield.
Was that the same one? They moved up there?
Mancha, Jessup, rare.
I guess.
Laboratory control, and this is in mint condition.
What year is that?
I don't know. I can't tell, but it says Hamlin, PA, Mancha Farm Dairy, Hamlin, PA. And my friend Leo Gimbetti told me he asked permission to go up there when he wants to take me and nose around in the barn. Which I will certainly oblige. And I'll make him go first. Here's a good one. Woodlawn. Golden Flake Buttermilk. C.W. Clark, Montdale, another rare bottle.
That Kelly, is that the one from Archibald?
Kelly's in Archibald, yes. Now, the deal with Kelly's is they still are in business. Their truck goes by all the time. It delivers to Valley View schools. I've been trying to get a Kelly's bottle for years. 3 or 4 years ago, I finally found this bottle. I had to pay $30 for it. It killed me because, well, it's a square pyro. I don't, these I won't mind paying $30 for. But a square pyro, they're $10, $15 max. But it's a Kelly's. All right. Dalton, PA, their ice cream bar, Kelly's. I contacted the owners. I stopped the milk truck. I flagged them down. I saw them over at closed my shop. I followed the milk truck till his next stop. I'm flashing the lights. The kid says, "Oh, we don't have any bottles. We never had any bottles." I said, "Kid," he said, "that's my grandfather you're talking to." I said, "I know he had bottles." He says, "My father told me we don't have any bottles." I said, "You had to have a bottle. How can you be a dairy and deliver milk if you don't have milk bottles?" "I don't know." Well, about a year later, my friend came up with this. I had to pay a lot of money for it, but now I have a Kelly's milk bottle. And now, the next time I see that truck, I'm going to tell him, $200, it's yours.
Where does he get his milk?
They need it for the family. It's an heirloom. Actually, this is not for sale, by the way. The collection stuff is collection stuff. Unless I get another one. Okay? That's how I operate.
Where is Kelly's milk coming from?
I don't know, but I heard Montdale was coming from Cloverdale.
Montdale's come from somewhere else now, I know it is, but I
It's
don't know
coming
where.
from Dairy Lee.
Dairy Lee is where they get their cream and milk.
Dairy Lee, they're still in operation.
Dairy Lee is only a farm buyer. They get out of the processing because they got burnt real bad. I got burnt bad because it's a cooperative and it cost us, all the members, a lot of money. They bought out a plant in Boston.
These guys
and
don't
went
really
down.
like Dairy Lee too much. That's okay.
But they bought out.
Let it out.
They bought out Woodlawn, but a lot of these dairies now buy their milk from Dairy Lee or the one in Jersey.
Jersey. New Jersey, their bottles are very collectible. And I don't know anything about Jersey except that almost everyone I put on eBay sells. And usually for more money than I listed for. I buy a lot on eBay. I sell a lot. I trade. I'll trade stained glass if you have the right milk bottle. I make stained glass windows for a living in the last 25 years. Before that, I was a loan manager at Avco Financial Services and Standard Finance in Oliphant and Carbondale and Montrose and Pittston and all over the place. Before that, I went to the University of Scranton for a while. I graduated from prep. I'm an Eagle Scout, Notary Public. I used to be a Notary Public, but there's no money in that. So, now I just do stained glass and milk bottles, and I play in a band.
Oh, what band?
My band's, I thought you'd never ask.
Yes.
The band's name is the Deadbeats, and we play Grateful Dead and Dead Beatles.
Dead Beatles. It's too light.
It's coming back. It's coming back, but we play the Dead Beatles, not the live ones.
George Harrison.
And Friday night we're at Giselle's in Archibald. If any of you guys
How's that
want to
place?
come up.
What
It's
instrument?
smoky. Lots of smoke. Good booze though.
What do you play? What
I play
instrument?
guitar harmonica.
Where's the Jones?
I Saturday night, here's something. We're at the Pierogi Bar.
Yeah.
Saturday night in Dixon City, Novak's Pierogi Bar.
Oh,
I
yeah.
recommend the boiled with onions.
Let's go get some Pinocchio Center.
Saturday night.
I have a question. Did you mention who was the first company or dairy that manufactured a glass bottle for,
Warren Glass Company. And they went out of business. The most popular one is Thatcher. Here is a Thatcher bottle. I'll find a good one. You can pass it around. Harry Baldwin. I'll find another one. You just pass this around. There's the onion right there.
and this was big then?
Oh, 30s, 40s. That's a Baldwin out of Carbonus. That's a Dacro top. It's probably 1930.
And what's these two ridges here?
That's one of the grippers. You know, the grip.
Yeah, the grippers.
No, that's my collection star. That's a great star.
That's big.
That's being right. That's. I don't know where it's from.
No, Pure was here. That's right. You know Pure.
I want a picture of her. Someone said he was a tall.
I figured that maybe they wanted to show the purity of the product.
Were there any bottle manufacturers around here?
Not that I know of. We also had Duraglass. Now, Duraglass was out of New York State. And there certainly are others, but I don't know what they are.
Our neighbor there, real much the ball.
Here's the Thatcher emblem right here. You can pass that around if you want.
You ever come across any Tunnel Hill?
There are no Tunnel Hill milk bottles that I know of in existence.
Really?
Well, I was told by a guy, I have 600 milk bottles. My friend has 10,000. He wrote the book. His name is Glenn White. And he told me a story about Tunnel Hill Dairy. Tunnel Hill Dairy wasn't making it very well. Something happened around the war. I don't know what year, foggy on the years. The owner decided to sell the dairy and pack up. Well, he sold it to an Argentinian or a Brazilian, tip of South America, one of the two, Argentina or Brazil, who took all of his cattle, all the horses, all of the bottles, everything to do with the dairy except for the caps for the bottles, and packed them up and went to South America.
Yeah.
This was the story I got, and this guy knows a lot more than I do.
We're talking about the one up,
Nicholson, Wyoming County,
he
Nicholson.
used to bottle up Langel's milk,
Yes, absolutely.
and he used to sell it to Lackawanna Tramp.
Right.
Steve Burek.
Okay,
But we can't find any of the bottles around.
right. It's like Zicks. Zicks are hard to find.
I used to work for Adam Zick. I found one of those up there.
Kingsley?
No, the factory one, Adam.
Okay, yeah. See, the Factoryville I just sold one for 40 bucks. But that's a collection bottle. I don't have a Kingsley bottle.
I didn't know he bottled up there.
Yeah,
Who's that,
Walter
Adolf?
Curli has
That's Adolf,
Zicks
isn't
and
it?
Kingsley.
That's Adolf Zick.
Okay. I don't know the names, but also I have Tunnel Hill caps available. I have Zicks caps.
I have Tunnel Hill caps. Quite a few Tunnel Hill caps.
I don't have a bottle.
We can't find it.
We're all out of luck there,
Yeah.
I think. Unless,
Go to South America.
yeah, or somebody in Hop Bottom someplace might have one in the barn.
There's gotta be one around.
But God bless you, try to get anything out of those people.
Yeah.
Those people are tough. They don't want long hairs, they don't want greasers, they don't want rednecks, they don't want anybody that ain't their family on their property.
Oh.
Well, I don't blame them. You know, you don't know what you're gonna get when you got a guy like me knocking on your door. And a guy like him, because he's packs heat, you know, like.
I'm just curious, has it ever, or has any ever been made a colored glass milk bottle?
Good question. There were amber milk bottles.
Yeah, he was.
In 36, they made a green milk bottle, but that was it. 36 one year, somebody made a green one, and then it didn't catch on. But the amber milk bottles were supposedly to help protect from ultraviolet light.
Is that one on the end there? That cup?
No, this one on the end is a display bottle from Burschel's. That was, Burschel bought them, had them professionally painted, and they sold them, they gave them to their stores that were selling their milk. I just bought this from a guy in Tunkhannock, Too Busy Too on eBay. Ellie Stout, James and Ellie Stout.
Herschel was a long time with dairy.
Oh, yeah.
How about Stevens Brothers?
Lots of Stevens Brothers. I'm overflowing with Stevens Brothers.
They delivered in Archbold.
Okay. That makes sense.
How about did you see the Cobalt? Those are all modern.
The Cobalt, there were, most of them are. There are other style and color bottles now. They're knockoffs. You have to watch for knockoffs these days. There's an amethyst color bottle that's obviously amethyst. It's not colored from iodine from old bottles. And the way to tell is on the inside of the bottle. A real bottle has a pronounced lip. It's a very sharp lip. It's not a rounded one. It's not tapered. It's a very dominant, pronounced lip. And the cap fits in there. And then another cap will fit over the top of it. But on knockoffs, that lip isn't there. Also, some knockoffs have paint that's painted on and not fired. See, I could cheat, actually. I don't, but being in the stained glass business, I have a kiln and I paint faces on saints and their hands and their feet. And I could do your dog. I'm not limited, so I could reproduce some things. And I've never reproduced a milk bottle or even touched one up, but I did some creamers this year, first time ever. And it's not a knockoff or a copy or a reissue, but I made one that said Alice's Restaurant on it, from Arlo Guthrie's Alice. So, you know, and some guy emailed me from Wisconsin that I told him, get a life. Because I told him this is mine. It's not a real thing. The restaurant didn't even exist.
That's right.
You know, like, come on, it's a joke. And I sold 2 or 3 of them, and this guy got really mad at me. And he told me that there are serious collectors out there, and I said, get a life, buddy. Wisconsin, they're the dairy state, all right.
Excuse me.
I can see that. If you sign this, I'm gonna go catch those 2 over there.
Cafeteria?
Please?
Yeah, we're gonna ask them, you know, because
Very curious, happy about doing that November program, or you decided you couldn't, or didn't?
don't ever come past that desk.
I didn't know.
Without signing.
Oh, I forgot.
Yeah,
I don't have
yeah.
anything different other than what I've done.
That was been like 3 years or
Debbie Cottrell, Oliphant. Oliphant, I'll put Raymond Johnson. And anytime you got time on your hands and you feel like swinging a hammer. Oh, he's from Beach Lake. You hear what she said? Goes to Beach Lake.
But still, you have the.
You gotta tell me when I can go.
Yeah, whenever you need help.
Hey?
How about you, sir? With your signs? You got to sign your name? Yeah, yes.
That's why we don't have any people.
Here.
We haven't had you in a while, I went to have years ago.
Esther, he said, you're supposed to call him if you want help.
Just so I can plan ahead.
Oh, okay.
Call Steffi, she got the phone, I think she gave you her phone.
Probably, all right, okay.
I don't really remember.
Some interesting ones that.
Most of them, I think we might have gotten from.
Hi, Dave.
Miners.
Cold out there, huh?
Yes, it is.
I don't know if I can do it.
Good, how are you?
Pretty good.
See, she called me,
And
and you're gonna probably say, where are you going today? What are you doing?
And you say to her, come with me, there's a vacuum cleaner there, all you have to turn the switch on.
Oh, no, she's not gonna come to the vacuum.
No?
She knows
She doesn't like
I
vacuum
know
cleaners?
that. She got two of them, she works on her own.
I'll come if she wants help.
If I find it, I'll send
You'll
it.
come? You sure?
I just have them on the road. I'm gonna try to keep this like one county in here. But we have, you know, county and
Yeah, I actually have the right paper on that one. Mr. Nicole got 3 others. Everything's right about that.
what we need to subscribe to,
He was working on an area. He said, when you saw me, can we use your little that? I said, "Hey, don't worry about it. Take care of whoever you take."
we exchange, we give, we
And,
send them everywhere for nothing.
We have a board meeting.
So we had her hearing aid, and
And I
then
tried to
he came in
get
and
that lady,
and he
asked
said,
her,
"Yeah, let me put a new battery
there were
in."
some of our counters on the consignment, people tell them. They're firing something recent.
So he put a new battery in. And he came out. Turning it on, so you get the new dial.
Of course, if car goes out, there's 2 stairwells, but
It's hard to say, I don't.
still.
They said, "Oh, well,
We need more stuff we can.
some parts of the inside interior because of lack."
Joe, be careful.
I don't believe that. I got very little lack.
Oh, they had so many files.
That's why you took me in.
Yeah, what up,
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Anyway.
We have fire drills every
Came back. The lady over there, she took her right away.
But I met Mike up here, you know, Mike is as a line. He wants to go research. When I went there, he goes in there. So he got me interested in shades. I
Movies all changed.
Said 3 concepts. He said the road's going to be simple.
And if there's nothing in place of that, that's all she knows.
Well, I have my own machine.
You wanna go there something to that, but you have 96 of them. But don't they have those
I've always just been but I was down there. You like the sun.
I had to go buy another.
think of any names that I've ever attended to.
Away from the door.
Yeah.
Yeah, from the door.
Information. It's on the website. To a jet, he's brilliant. He's on the website. And he's a leading online. Anyone's out here.
That's the gift. Yes, it's yeah, I know. I see that German society's doing a whole bunch of stuff up there.
I do this.
Yeah, here's the driver.
Here's me.
It's a blanket.
This has so many uses.
I have a feather that doesn't work down.